Okay. Sorry I'm running a few minutes late. It happens sometimes. Okay. Getting all the things and stuff here. And trying to find where I've put the colors that I need to grab at. I'm a little disorganized here. Just a little bit. Oh, right. We were gonna do that. What drawer is that in? Ow. Without breaking my nails. Or destroying the place. We rearranged furniture in here. The other day. Last week. So... trying to dig out everything and find its new location. Okay. So when we last left off, well, first of all, we are following along with Bob Ross tutorials with needle felting instead of painting. So we are still working our way through season 3. We have been for some time just because I don't have that many days that I can allocate to working on this and that many hours to allocate to it now. So we're still in season 3. We've worked our way up to episode 8. The other 7 projects you can find. Oh, look, Stream Elements decided to join the party today. Well, isn't that interesting? Which means it probably would have done the tweet today. After I already did it, but okay. Don't get me in Twitter jail. Or X jail, or whatever the hell it is now. Don't think it would have let it. Go through, but you never fucking know. No, it didn't go through. Okay, good. So there's the link to this project's tutorial in full on the Bob Ross YouTube channel. To find the links to the previous 7 that we've done, you can go to my YouTube page, same name as here, and Nisey Needlefelt's playlist, you'll find them on there. Okay, so when we last left off, we were working on our lighthouse. I don't think the fan is hitting the microphone. If it is, I apologize. We're a little overheated. We went back down to the fair again today because I wanted to see some things. I wanted to see prices for what people were pricing certain things and trying to get an idea of what all they were doing. Yeah, so we need to get the tutorial up to where we... Oh, no! Stop! There we go. I don't mind the ads, but I'm not getting money from those ads, so... they don't help me. Sorry, Bob. Alright, so when we last left off, we were working on our little platform up here. I do have to add a little bit more brown because I do have a split right there. And we still have to do the railing around the top too, and do our little line in the window. This could be a little bit taller. And then he does his thing. His is a little more flared out at the bottom. Ours is a little more straight. It's fine. So I do have this muted, so if you want to see it in full with sound and stuff, that's why I put the link in there. I should have had closed captioning on. Alright, what's he doing? Oh, okay. He's adding rocks and stuff. We're not quite there yet. That's about the best look I can get on that right now. Because they did these weird camera angles where every time they pulled out, it wasn't a head-on shot. It was always this 3/4 shot this season. I don't know if that's like that in all the seasons, but I didn't think it was. But now that I've noticed it, it's really annoying the shit out of me. It's like, I want to see the thing head-on, please. So I can see what the heck I'm doing. But maybe that's the point. If you want the better angles, you gotta pay. Who knows? Okay, so get that up there. Get our finger doodles on, so we don't accidentally stab thyself. No stabbing.
Please.
No stabbing. I cannot afford the emergency room bill. At least not yet. That would also put me out of commission for a little while, and that would be bad. Okay. So we need to fill this spot in just a little bit where that's thin. Just get that guy patched up there. So we will snip that bit there. Okay. Now, I kind of want this a little bit taller on the inner section here. Not too much taller. Uh-oh.
Just P-Butt being P-Butt.
What fell?
Nothing important.
I was gonna say, do I need to grab it?
No, it's fine.
Cats are knocking shit everywhere. Okay. I didn't want the windows quite that tall. So that's why we are just coming back in here and just kind of filling that just a little bit. And just making sure that all of our loose ends are tacked down. So the fair was a lot busier yesterday, right after the parade. That's probably because all the people came in for the parade. Although I'm surprised that that many people would come for the parade on the first day of the fair. But maybe once you've come the first day, you don't bother coming the second day. I don't know. But it was a lot quieter down there today. I felt bad for all the vendors. I hope they at least made their deposits back. It didn't really look like a whole lot had sold, but maybe they just had that much inventory with them. But some stuff I saw there yesterday because it was painted pieces and it didn't look like they would have had multiples of those. Tonight they've got I think the start of the square dancing stuff that they're doing. And I don't know if it's just the exhibitions tonight and competitions tomorrow. I don't know. There was a lot of teams this year. That parade yesterday went on forever and ever and ever, and it was like 2/3 advertisements.
It wasn't that bad. It was more like a third.
Well, it was 2/3 advertisement and square dance teams, like, combined. Like, that made up, like, 2/3 of the parade.
Yeah, if you want to argue the square dance teams are advertising, okay, sure.
It was wild. Hadn't seen that many advertisers before, either. So that was kind of different. That's probably a little too thin, right? Because if we go too thin, well, it wants to be there now, so it's going to be there. I don't know if we're going to get a second one in there. I mean, I guess I could just make this line a little bit thicker. There was a few quilting booths this year. I hadn't remembered seeing them before. They were expensive though. But I guess those things do take time to make. There was a few booths selling aprons. The big things this year seemed to be tulle or ribbon based wreaths, like bunches of like the mesh netting attached to a sorry, I've been having something going on with my finger and I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just have like a permanent angry nerve in there or a split or something under my skin, but it's not as painful as it had been, but every certain ways I touch that side of my finger, I can still kind of feel it. It's distracting. But it was like these tulle wreaths, this mesh netting gathered in like little poofstas attached to like a wreath form, and they had these huge wooden circles with like stuff painted on them, like set in the middle of it, and I was like, okay, I guess. I didn't really get it. It kind of bugged me not having the center of the wreath visible. But the one booth kind of pissed me off because, you know, it's supposed to be like handmade shit. And they were selling, obviously, silk flowers that they did not make themselves. I'm pretty sure it was probably like leftover stock from making the wreaths that they had. But they were selling them for like $5 a stem, and I was like, oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, so that. NiseyBGN. Got that placed a little bit close. So I'm just trying to kind of slide that over. And the other big thing seemed to be like the laser engraved wood that's like almost wood burnt in. There was a few duplicate kind of looking booths with that stuff, and somebody had like a pretty expensive laser engraving machine sitting there so that you could like personalize stuff. No idea how much that was, but probably wasn't cheap. But some of the stuff that they did have that they did the laser engraving with, I really just didn't like the look of it. Some of it was so faintly engraved in the wood they were using. And some of the wood plaques they were using, I hate to say this, but they looked so cheap. Like they were like cheap hard plaques, like bulk wood plaques that I've seen at like craft stores in different sizes. Like it looked like something that you would more paint on than, it didn't look like the type of wood that was really good for what they were trying to do with it. Like, it felt like they could have maybe gone with a different type of wood, because some wood just doesn't take it very well. I don't know, unless they just weren't using that deep of a setting on the engraver. But some of it looked like it was barely on the surface. That was kind of bothersome to pay that much for it to like be so faintly on there. It was like fine engraved. I was like, I don't know. We did find a guy that was making handmade wooden toys and rolling pins and stuff, and that was kind of fun. He was cool. He made these wooden tops, and one was spinning before we even walked up to his table, and it was still spinning when we walked away. Like it didn't stop. Like it stopped because he picked it up. So that was kind of cool. Oh, do we want to do the other lines in there? I don't know. There was a face painting booth. I don't remember seeing that before. There was pony rides. I didn't remember seeing that before. I was kind of surprised by the pony rides. So many people had their dogs with them, and it was so hot. Yesterday, we saw a lady with a monkey on her shoulder. What was it, like a spider monkey or something? I never saw it.
I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, it was a very small monkey.
Like the Ross from Friends monkey?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. But a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, that lady had a monkey on her shoulder," and I am surprised they allowed that. Today we saw somebody with a cat walking around with it, and the cat did not seem pleased. I'm like, why? Cat was like meowing, looking all over, did not look like they wanted to be there. It looked like they just wanted to go hide. Because it wasn't as busy as yesterday, but it was starting to pick up a bit when we left. I guess people were finally showing up from church or whatever to get lunch and go to the concerts that there were this afternoon. Two local bands, I guess, or local-ish bands. I've never heard of them, so I don't know what kind of music they have. But it was so hot, I'm like, yeah, no, we're going. That and my hip started acting up, and it just felt like my hip socket was grinding bone on bone. I'm like, yeah, I need to go home. It wasn't doing that yesterday, but today it was pissed. And we were overheating, and it's like, ugh. We still have to walk home, so I didn't want to pay for parking a second day in a row. It's not that far to walk. It's like maybe a 5-10 minutes at the most walk from the house. Depends on how fast we're walking. But it's really not that far. And there was a sidewalk all the way down now, so that made life a little bit easier too. Okay. So it's a little crooked up in here, and I feel like we can probably try to get that maybe a little bit more cleaned up. Although that might be as good as we're gonna get that. And it is a holiday weekend here, so Labor Day. But today we went back just to check on a couple different things, and I was trying to look at how people were displaying their stuff. Seeing what they used to make it, which was interesting. Okay, so we need to try to find something to shade this in. This is a little, well, I mean, that might work. Alright, so we're diving into the roving bag here. One of them. This might work. I mean, it's a little light, but where the hell's the end? Hello? Hello? Oh my god, what the fuck? Alright, that's part of it. Alright, there we go. The roving likes to stick to itself a lot easier than the acrylic yarn. Which is why they say for making figurines you might want to have some kind of roving core on the inside just so you don't have quite so much trouble trying to make the figurines. I gotta make little mini ornaments or pins or something. I haven't decided what it's gonna be. It might just be little snowman ornaments, and everybody might just be getting the same thing this year. Although I did find my rooster cookie cutters, so we'll see. Don't have any water set up here today. we'll try to start to shade this guy in here. Where are... Lost my scissors. They were at my elbow. Sounds about right. So crazy that Jimmy Buffett died yesterday. I don't think anybody was expecting that. Alright, so we're just trying to get a little bit of highlight on this guy, and I don't have any of this like darky, like, I don't know what to even call this, like a burnt orange color. I guess is the best thing I can equate it to. I really only have this like bright orange. Something I don't really have a lot of are like the dirt colors, the earthy colors. How far down? Oh, this kind of goes like all the way down. There's like a dark red kind of mixed in there too. But I don't really have a red that's quite that dark. So we might just kind of stick with this guy. So how's everybody's weekend going? Some of the schools have started up, some are starting this week. If you haven't started yet, are you ready? Is anybody really ever ready? Sorry I didn't stream yesterday. We got home in time where I probably could have, but I was so just absolutely spent from being out in the heat. And trying to make sure my mom didn't trip anybody because she didn't bring her cane for some reason. She decided she was going to lean on her wheelchair. We were trying to push her in the areas where we could, but a lot of the ground was not necessarily pushy wheelchair friendly. So she spent a lot of it just pushing the wheelchair herself to lean on it, but she wasn't really paying attention to what she was doing. Sorry, I'm looking at that and I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on there. I think that might be some of our base felt peeking through there. I might have to grab another tiny bit of orange and tack that into there. So we will see. I'm sorry I haven't posted anything from this week to YouTube yet. I've been a tired person this week. I don't know. My brain's like, meh. Where's my orange at? I've got fluff in 2 different spots here. And for some reason I put it in one of the harder to reach places. Because of course I did. They were really trying to hawk them turkey legs at the fair today. They were trying to create scarcity. Oh, we only have a few more left. Come and get your turkey legs before the concert. I was like, jeez. And then they were going on about the chicken dinners that they had available. But I think they said that so far this weekend they raised $17,000 for the,
I thought they said that was last year.
Oh, was that last year's numbers?
Yeah, I think.
Well, they had to do better than that this year with the amount of people we saw there yesterday, although that doesn't mean people were buying shit, but...
They had a pretty good line yesterday at the turkey place, so...
Alright, yeah, we'll get one last little bit there. And the school, I think it was the school band was raising money. I think they had a parking lot going, and I think they were also running like a small concession stand, which was actually one of the most reasonable priced concessions there, because $7 for a cherry limeade seemed a little much from one of the other places that was like a more professional food truck. I was like, really? Am I just being cheap? I mean, I know I'm a cheap bitch because I ain't got any money right now, but I'm like, that seems a little excessive. We got like a hot dog and a soda, a decent sized soda, for $6 today, because we could actually get through the line. The lines yesterday for food were crazy. And that was like right, I was like at 11:30, but I think it was because people were hot and the parade went on for so fucking long. Like, some people left before the parade even finished. I think they were trying to get down to the craft fair the back way or something, or they just had enough of the sun, or they didn't care about seeing the square dancing teams. But when the parade finally finished and regular cars were starting to join the end of the parade, which was odd, I don't think the cops were paying attention to the traffic, because usually it's a cop car at the end and then the normal traffic's behind them. I heard one person across the street from our house go, "Finally!" I was like, oh jeez.
Wait, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Some father or something across the street when it ended was like, "Finally." I was like, okay, because they were trying to ride herd on their like two-year-old that kept trying to run into the street and was picking up candy and stuff. And I kept grabbing them and they're like, no, because the kids on the parade floats kept throwing candy. And you know, they're not like underhanding it. Some of those kids are like trying to throw a fastball over home plate. We have these pillars that are like on our front porch to support the roof overhang, and a couple of them bastards threw it so hard that it went crack and bounced off, and I'm like, oh my god, if that pillar hadn't been there, we would have been nailed in the head. I was like, kids, easy. We weren't even trying to get the candy. But my mom kept waving, so they kept throwing candy at her, even though she wasn't going to eat it. We're like, Mom, stop waving. And I was like, oh god, please don't break our car windshield, because we forgot and left the car pulled up in the carport, and those kids have terrible aim, because they're throwing from a moving vehicle, and One year, somebody threw a peanut butter cup on our porch roof, and I'm like, really? I think we had to get a stick to try to knock it down. Fortunately, there didn't seem to be any chocolate thrown at us, aside from Tootsie Rolls. Or they already threw all the good stuff out at the beginning of the parade route. Ooh. Hand, could we not do that? My hands will just randomly let go of stuff. That would have been very uncomfortable had that actually gone through my shirt. But like, it took the parade started at 9 o'clock. I don't think it got to our house. We're towards the end of the parade route, though. It took them like a good, what, half an hour to even start at the end of the street that we were on. And there was some pretty big gaps throughout the parade where people weren't keeping rank and file, and I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. I'm actually surprised that the company that Russell used to work for, they had 2 of their trucks in the parade advertising the company, but I was really surprised they didn't have a now hiring banner on the side of it. That probably would have, I don't know how that would have went. Maybe they were afraid it would chase away potential customers. I don't know. Probably need a little something in here. The roving is a little bit easier to work with. A little bit. But it's not like you can't work with the acrylic yarn, because everything we've done in all of the projects, well, we've had some roving accents on it. It's the majority of it. Let's go with that. Because I can't pronounce the word the way I want it to, and I don't know if that's an actual pronunciation of it or not. But the majority of them has been the acrylic yarn. So if you're allergic to wool, you can still do this without the wool. In fact, you can see this is a wool mat, and look how well the roving just melted into it. I have to grab a razor from the bathroom that we have extras of. I don't know whose they are, but nobody's using them, so if they're just gonna sit there, I might as well grab one that's still in the packaging for our mat cleaning. I was gonna get one of like the Shetty combs, but then when I bought this mat, they had a video specifically saying how to handle any extra fiber that might get stuck in it, and that was one of the ways how they said to handle it. So I was like, oh, okay, sort of same concept as my X-Acto knife, but a lot easier to hold. Okay. So we're just working on getting our highlighties in here. Working our way down the side. Now he kind of went like, he didn't go all the way around. So we're not gonna go all the way around either. Just grabbing some loose, not really loose, but some little sticky uppies that are trying to escape. So what are you guys working on? What are you up to? What projects are you working on, if anything? I got the one painted cross done. I don't remember if I showed that on stream. I may or may not have. I'm working on one of my folk arty, well, I'm attempting a folk art style sign. I've been so tired this week that every time I sat down to work on it, I was like, nah, my mind melted and I was like, okay. So it was at the end of long days of doing stuff. I really didn't get anything done on Tuesday or most of Wednesday because we were cleaning. We had to deep clean this room. It had been a while. Between that and being in like a Benadryl stupor from my allergies. It's been a tough week. Just a little bit. But the sign, it's gonna look a little dirty because the pencil smeared everywhere, but we're working on it. We're working on it. We've got a lot still to paint, but an outline and things, but base coats are going in. And then that's gonna go in the pile of stuff that needs to be sealed. I've got a couple things waiting to get sprayed. I kind of want to wait till it gets a little bit cooler outside though. But I might spray it when I have to spray the pot for the arrangement for my dad's grave that I have to do this month. That's another thing I have to do. The next couple of days I need to start priming that. Probably do that this week. I'll probably get that primed and painted. I think she wanted it painted orange this time. And hopefully it's not going to be hot the first couple of days of October. Because we're supposed to take her to the zoo. Are we buying those tickets in advance?
What's that?
Are we buying our tickets in advance this time?
No, if we don't need to, then no. Just in case I have a bad day, you know?
Like, I don't know if we need to, but you said you saw somebody else that paid cash for theirs and didn't seem to have a reservation. Right?
Yeah.
I wonder if they were a member. I'll have to double check the website just to make sure. Cause like well no, cause if she had a membership, she wouldn't have had to pay. Like, cause you can buy like a a season pass. Which we totally would have done if we lived closer.
Well, how much is the season pass?
I don't know, you'd have to look it up. But when we were originally discussing it, we were like, oh, like 2 trips would have like paid for it. Because they had different tiers. They had like different family different family packages.
3 adults is
The senior discount for her is only $2 off. But it might be something we look into next year if she wants to go a couple of times.
let's see. Lowest thing for 3 adults is $159.
Yeah, and it's $15 per person.
So that's 45. So 4 trips would justify it. Not having to worry about paying for it might actually make us more inclined to take a trip.
We would just need gas money.
Yeah.
And lunch.
So that might be worth considering.
There you go. We'll tell her to get us that for Christmas.
You could.
Since she seems to enjoy going. It's either that or she starts putting away to go see Richard.
I don't think that's going to happen, hon.
I mean, he offered to buy her a plane ticket, but she doesn't want to fly, so... And I don't blame her for not wanting to fly. But it's not like she can pop on Spirit Airlines either and do cheap, although Spirit Airlines has been getting kind of sketchy lately, from what I've been hearing. But I think she would have to be on Delta or American Airlines from here. I don't know all of the airlines that fly out of this airport. But she would never be able to fly alone, and I don't think Richard understands that. She's too unsteady on her feet, number 1. And number 2, she's starting to...
She's not forgetful, but...
She's... I don't know if she's just overwhelmed by everything to look at the fair when we were there yesterday, but telling her which way to go, she was like, okay, but she was like ignoring where we were telling her to go.
I wonder how much is difficulty vision-wise.
It could be. She also can't see very well. So I wouldn't want to throw her to the wolves of an airport trying to read those boards. She can't, like, read Scrabble tiles on the table in front of her. So... if he really wanted her to fly down, he would have to pay for one of us to go, and it would probably have to be me.
Would you want to go?
I don't know. I can't drive her around anywhere when we got there. And we probably wouldn't be able to stay with him, so I don't know how that would work. Because I don't know if that girl's still living with him or not. I mean, I'm not that keen on flying, but I think between the two of us, I might handle it a little better. I'm really not.
I don't know. I have to take your word at that one.
Well, with your anxiety and stuff, if you start to have an anxiety attack, they might, like, kick you off the plane. Alright, why are you being... Alright, you're being a little fussy, so we're just gonna have to add a little bit more. But I think he was just thinking about spending for her ticket.
Yeah.
I don't think he's realized that she can't exactly
she
travel
would need a
alone.
minder at this point.
Yeah, she needs a keeper. For her own safety. 'Cause someone would take advantage of her real fucking quick. She would be an easy mark.
I don't know about an easy mark.
You'd be able to, like, barely push her over and take...
I don't think they're going to do that in the airport, dear.
I don't mean, like, in the airport itself, but, like, maybe outside of it, because she'd have to get her luggage.
Yeah, I'm more worried about that.
She wouldn't be able to get that off the carousel herself without falling over, if she could even see her luggage. But, like, she's also, like, waving to random people walking down the street, and then they're coming over suddenly.
Honey, I think she's just being sociable. I mean, she doesn't have a lot of people to talk to. I've tried to get her to consider going to one of the senior things to try to make a friend or two, but...
Yeah, but then she's like, I don't want to. So I'm like, well, then why are you talking to random people on the street? Like, don't do that. I mean, granted, this isn't the area... It's not as bad here as where we used to be, but... We've also had random weird people show up at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning knocking on our door asking for a ride, and we're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I still don't know what caused someone to think they should do that.
I don't know if she was drunk, if she was high.
She was absolutely drunk, honey.
Was she?
Yeah, she was drunk off her ass.
Like, did she think she knew us? Like...
No, I think she just picked a random fucking person to ask. And we happen to have lights on, so we're awake.
But I'm like, no. I can call the cops to give you a ride home. I think the second time she did it, we did call the cops.
I don't think we ultimately did. I think I just warned her that, you know, this is the second time, don't do it again.
Oh. And she seemed very confused by that. Like, what do you mean? Like, you did this yesterday. I did?
It was like a week, wasn't it?
No, it was like the very next night. Because we were like, what the fuck? But, like, we always have our front porch light on. And there's usually a light on of some description in this room at night, because I don't like being in the total dark. It was very strange. She only ever did it the 2 times, and then we never saw her again. And we never could figure out what the deal was with that, because she appeared to be alone. I think I'm gonna need to get a little bit of black and patch that in there. It's kind of what I've been fussing over. There's a slight thin spot right there that showed up. Oh, goodness me. But yeah, she said she wants to go see him, but she also doesn't want to fly there, she said. And I'm like, well, then, you know, I told you we would drive you, but you gotta come up with at least some cash, because...
Well, maybe if things work out, then maybe we can put towards it.
Yeah, I mean, depending how things go, we'd still have to, have your mom come back.
Oh, I know.
And I'd prefer to go during not hurricane season, but... Cause he's in, like, the Tampa area. And granted, if we're driving, we can just drive out, but... I'd hate to be en route and a problem pop up and us have to turn around. So yeah, we actually didn't use that much of this to highlight here. Not as much as I was expecting to. So yeah, we've got some, as we're putting this in, we're pulling a little bit on our black pieces here. So I want to get a little bit of black. Did not realize how bad the floor slants in here until we flipped my desk around. So now I'm like leaning forward instead of like leaning backward. It's a new sensation to get used to. Keeps sliding out of my chair. Yeah, so after we came home yesterday, I think we were home by like 1:30. I could have quick rushed to get my Planet Zoo stream up, but I was so tired. I was up way earlier than I normally am. I think I'm actually pulling some of the light blue fluff into this from underneath, from the pad. And then in other parts, it looks like it's just, just our normal thin spots that can sometimes pop up. Okay, so we'll just clean up that edge a little bit there. And we'll grab a little bit more of this. Probably should have had some water today. I do have some next to me. Just didn't really set it up. We could have. Okay. Alright, we need a tiny bit. You okay? Did you do anything? You okay from the heat?
Yeah, no, I'm alright. I'm recovering.
Okay.
It helps that we did have that breeze.
Even if it was hot.
Yeah, and it wasn't as muggy either until we were on our way home.
Yeah, when we started to head home, like, the humidity started cranking. I can only imagine how uncomfortable it's going to be down in that amphitheater.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by trees for shade, but I don't think the airflow is all that great down there. And you're sitting on the ground, so unless you bring your own lawn chairs,
Yeah.
which is what they were telling people to do. You okay?
Yeah, just checking up on you.
Oh, hi. Alright, so we don't need too much more of this. Just a little bit. I mean, if I could afford the roving, we could make some critters to sell.
I definitely think you'd have to put dedicated effort into practicing then.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, it's the same problem if you have to be able to produce fast enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. But the roving makes it go faster because it sticks faster to itself. Trim that. I'm okay with this side being a little bit wider. Because then it can help give that flared out base illusion. Or at least slightly flared out. Okay, let's see. how are we looking? So the roving came through a little bit deeper. I'm not that surprised though. Okay. There we go. Alright, so that's not looking too bad in there. This is a little messy. But it's gonna be a little messy. It's a little chaotic over here. Okay, so we're almost down to the base of this guy. Oh, right. So we'll get this guy popped into here. And we'll probably just wrap this around. Just kind of bring that down. Like, no sense in trimming that when it's just such a small piece remaining. Just trying to maneuver that little bit of fluff and stuff. Over to where that needed to be. Alright. That's looking pretty good. All things considered. Okay. So we've got our highlights going there. I'm just gonna kind of roll this guy back up and put him back in his bag because there's still a little bit there. Don't know what we're gonna do with that little bit, but we'll hold on to him. Trying to use up some of that stuff I've got too. Okay. So, where, ow, wrong hip that popped. Alright, so, okay. So we're gonna do some land here now. So we're starting to put in this. It's really hard to see because he's doing Van Dyke brown on black with the palette knife. So it kind of doesn't even really look like he's doing anything. The only way you can tell he's doing something from this camera angle is because the wet paint is hitting the light in certain spots where he's got it a little bit thicker. Alright, so it looks like he added some sienna or something to that because it looks a little redder now. Okay. Alright, so then he's gonna put the house in. I actually want to see how he's doing the house because we saw. Alright, so there's the back roof, there's the front roof. We've got ours positioned a little bit differently, and that's fine. That's okay. Alright, so he's gonna Yeah, so he did use gray in the sky. We went with that color. It's fine. Okay, so he's putting the sides on there. Kind of makes it look a little bit more weathered, battered by the elements, some shadows. He's gonna put in some windows. Now what's he doing? Oh, that's a shed. Oh, okay. Well, that makes a little more sense now. Although it is kind of like put into the side, so... Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna... how we're gonna handle this, excuse me. Okay, so he's adding a little bit of foliage. Not too much, you know, you got the waves beating against it, but a little bit. Although it does feel like that shed's like nestled down in there. So maybe we're okay. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for roof color on that, but... okay. Alright, I don't want to jump back into the waves just yet. Can we get... alright, that's probably about as good of an angle as we're gonna get on that. Unfortunately. So, let's go back into our brown. And we're gonna start to work our ground in here. Now, it's okay if we come over our waves a little bit here. That's fine. In fact, we may want to ensure that we do that. It'll help avoid any weird seams. Potentially. And B, it will probably help to push this back a little bit. Alright, so we'll get this all tucked into here. Hey, can you do me a favor?
What's up?
In the linen closet, there's a bag of pink handled razors.
Okay.
Can I have one?
Yeah, give me just a second.
They look like they were a cheap value bag.
Yeah, probably. You know which
I don't remember which brand or what shelf it is.
Alright, it's a bag?
They're in a bag, like a pink and yellow bag, I
Did you
think.
see one of them?
Yeah. Been staring at that bag in there for months. Actually, we might use that lighter color roving. Or, I mean, we have a more ruddy one. That might be a little bit better for down into here. Alright. I want this to try to stay in as good as condition as we can here. So, thank you. So real quick, we're just I'm gonna stick you right there so I know where you are. So just how the hell? There it goes. So they said just to take a regular razor and just kind of, oh yeah, oh that works lovely.
What's that for? Cleaning the pad?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, we were taking off a little bit of the blue wool, but that's okay. Either that or he's like, you can get your fingers in there and hand pick it out. He goes, or you can do this if it seems like it's really in there. But, you know, it's also trimming up some of the fuzz that we've pulled up from the pad too, so that's helpful. Keeping that in check. Yeah, we'll say I'm happy with this pad. Not sponsored anyway whatsoever. Although, hey, well, buddy, if you want to be, maybe we can work something out. Although, I mean, how many pads do you really need? We'll see what kind of lifespan we get out of this guy. That'll be the next real test. But yeah, that's not bad. I mean, you can still see some of our brown or orange kind of worked into there, but and I can feel some like dips and valleys, but I mean, that's gonna happen. That's kind of just the way of it. But it's not like it's flipped inside out almost like the other mat was. I was not happy with that other mat. I mean, it worked okay, but it was not the greatest. This one's definitely a notch higher on my, several notches higher on my likey list. Okay, so grab the next bit of fluff here. As we work on getting our ground worked in here. So I'm kind of bunching this up towards the bottom just a little bit, just so we don't have too much thin spot action, or at least that's the hope. Will it work out that way? I don't know. We will see. We will see. So a little bit of time here today. Before I have to go and figure out dinner. I'll tell you, dinner's such a pain in the ass. You're hungry, right? And I'm one of those people that could probably eat the same thing a couple days in a row. Maybe a week in a row. Without changing what it is. But my mom hates having leftovers. So making the same thing in the same exact way every night would be like leftovers for her. So I have to like tweak it a little bit each night. I'm running out of ideas, you know. Within my budget, I don't know how else to do some of this. So we got in a couple packs of chicken drumsticks because they were cheap and we had a tight food budget this month, so I think it's going to be another tight food budget this coming month. But she's been buying the meat, so I don't know what her budget is. We haven't gone food shopping yet. We haven't talked about food shopping yet. Like, we pick up other stuff, but since I'm cooking for her, she's buying the dinner stuff. But, she doesn't like mac and cheese. That attached a little bit harder than I was expecting it to right there. Like, Russell and I don't mind mac and cheese, not every night, but I like the deluxe mac and cheese better than the regular mac and cheese. I call one the adult version and the one the kid version. I'd kind of like to try to make my own mac and cheese sometime, but that's a lot more expensive.
Is it?
I think so, because you gotta buy the cheese.
Yeah.
And cheese is expensive. It's gonna be more than...
Depends on how much cheese you're using.
It's gonna be more than like $4. Because you also gotta get the pasta. And all the other things that we don't have for it. But she doesn't like mac and cheese, so we just have like a box of the kid mac and cheese, because it was too good of a deal to walk away from as a different side to have when we were at Sam's. So if I make that as a side for Russell and I tonight, then I need to make her rice and her corn. Although, fortunately, we've been able to microwave her corn on the cob to an acceptable, edible level for her. So that's been saving us a lot of water in an extra pan on the stove.
Hon, most of the stuff we need is stuff we either have on hand.
We don't have the cheddar cheese.
Yeah, we have to get cheddar cheese, which isn't that bad,
Mm-hmm.
and macaroni. Everything else is just stuff we normally have.
Well, what's the other stuff?
Flour, salt, pepper, milk, and half and half, which your mom always has.
And where's this recipe from?
It's a random website.
Okay. I've seen some recipes called for, like, is it dried mustard?
What?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you put mustard?
I don't know. That's why I was confused. I've seen other recipes call for, like, condensed milk or evaporated milk. That's why I'm asking.
I skipped the breadcrumbs because I know you don't like that texture any more than I do.
No, I don't need I don't need breadcrumbs on top of the mac and cheese. I know some people are really into that, but it tastes like sand.
Oh, okay. I see the thing that you're talking about with the mustard.
So yeah, I mean that is a version.
This is weird fucking southern mac and cheese.
Oh, okay, that's what that is. We need like Bob Evans mac and cheese, something like that. We could just buy Bob Evans mac and cheese, but you don't get much out of those tubs if they even still sell it at Walmart.
I haven't seen them.
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's 2 cups of shredded cheese. That's not hard.
Okay.
Well, for this example.
Well, maybe we can try that sometime. Because I could always shred some chicken into mine, so maybe a night where we're doing chicken in the oven. So I have the burners to use. So we stopped using one of the burners on our stove because the knob on it was making weird noises. And when we were using that burner, we were seeing a weird, I guess the temperature timer was like making a weird pop noise, and then we would see like a flash of blue light in the surface because it's a glass top stove. And I'm like, I don't think it should be doing that. That looks concerning, so we stopped using that burner. So we have 3 burners that we're using right now. Haven't seen any of the other burners do that. We actually took the knob off of that burner control panel so we don't accidentally turn it on. Because even though there's that little picture on the stove, like next to the knob, we have an electric stove. I don't know if gas stove does this. I don't like cooking on gas stoves. I boil enough stuff over on the electric stove. I don't want to worry about flame underneath catching whatever's boiling over on fire. And the mother-in-law's real good at boiling stuff over too. So I'd rather just have it a flat top. Less to get down into crevices that I have to try to get into to clean to. But they have the little picture next to the knobs with the little 4 circles and then the ones colored in so you know which burner you're turning on. The husband and I still have to kind of stare at the picture for a minute. Even though, you know, I guess most people see the thing and like, oh, right, this one. I have to actually look at it and visually place myself where the circle is colored in so I can see the empty ones, like, in front of me. I'm, like, staring at the top of the stove. I'm like, but which burner are you really? Ah, this one. There's so many times we've gone to turn on the wrong burner. Both of us, so I don't know if that's just a weird us thing or if everybody does that. But I mean, I know my right and my left, but there's times where someone's like, go right, and I have to like stop and think about it. I'm like, left, right, and I'm like, okay, this way. I can't just do it instantaneously a lot of the time. If I feel like I'm on the spot, my brain kind of is like, ah. You alright?
Yeah.
It seemed like you suddenly got up. Is your mouth okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Alright.
No problem.
Okay. depending on what time I wake up tomorrow, we might try to go a little bit early tomorrow just to kind of catch up on stuff. I'm hoping this week we can get back on some sense of normalcy. I might try to do an extra stream this week with Planet Zoo to try to catch up, because I lost the one Saturday to a migraine. And then I lost yesterday because we went to the fair. Yeah, we came back. I was like, I need a nap. I'm hot. I might be dehydrated. Like, I had a tank top on and I was drenched by the time we got home. I was like, ugh. I need to lay in the fan for a while. Alright, so we're just kind of overlapping our ground here a bit and working that into place. Now I am doing this a little bit thicker, bits of fluff here, hoping that we don't have any thin spots show up when we start putting in our like medium ranged highlights and our shrubs and stuff. So I'm not quite sure why I've got this weird line showing up here, but I might try to stick maybe some of our mid-range or that reddish highlight. It's not really that bright, so I feel weird calling it a highlight. Shading, maybe? Let's go with shading. So maybe we can work some of our foliage down into that crevice that we've got happening there. I don't even know if that's showing up on camera. Not kind of. That just seems to be doing its own thing there. That's fine, I guess. Is anybody having a barbecue tomorrow for Labor Day? I know some people do. We thought about it on the way home from the fair. I'm like, oh shit, are we supposed to be grilling out tomorrow? Because I never know what my mom expects. It's been so hot this end of the summer that, well, Russell's like, well, I wasn't sure because you guys kind of stopped asking to have the grill fucked with, and I'm like, yeah, but it's been so fucking hot out. If it's been this hot in the house with the AC running, I certainly didn't want you standing in front of a hot charcoal flaming grill. Especially when he can't eat half the stuff that comes off of there anyway with his food anxieties, so I can see us grilling more in the cooler months though. No reason why we can't. If we're feeling in the mood. But that, and my mom has trouble eating stuff with her dentures. She said they're kind of flat in spots, so I kind of have to, like, a couple times we made steak on there, she couldn't chew it. So I kind of didn't see the point in doing the grill that much, just for some hot dogs. I mean, we could just cook those on the stove. To be perfectly honest. Save some aggravation. So like whenever I cook like meat or anything. I kind of have to like cook it down to where it's falling apart so she can eat it. Although chicken she's able to do. But I don't think that's as tough as some of the beef cuts. She like kept trying to buy steak and I'm like, I know you like the steak, but it's really expensive for the amount that you're getting out of that package. And like X, Y, and Z, you haven't been able to chew it. So let's not spend a crazy amount of money on 2 steaks. That's gonna be 1 meal, 1 for each of us. And let's get something that we can get a couple of meals out of. That I can cook and you can actually eat. How about that? So like she can do pot roast or like the beef cube, like the beef stew cubes. But I have to cook it for like 4 hours so that it kind of falls apart when you touch it with a fork so she can eat it. And that's fine. I don't mind doing that. I don't like it when it's real like chewy texture anyway. If I have to chew something that long to fucking eat it, then I get mad, so. I don't want it to be like shoe leather. That's not fun. Okay. What time are we at here? So tonight we're having cheeky drumsticks. I gotta figure out what I'm giving the dogs, because they can't have cheeky drumsticks. I mean, they might. If I don't put anything on that cheeky drumstick. I'll see how many's in the pack that we pulled out, because we get like the big packs of meat from Sam's and then I break it down into like meal sizes. And it stretches our budget a bit further, because if we just bought it by the meal at Walmart, we'd end up spending more. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, was that Little?
Yeah, it was little.
Oh, you touched her?
Yeah.
Little gets so surprised. Like, she'll be laying there and you'll like touch her and she's like, meow, who was touching me? She's not a very cuddly cat. She like cuddles from a distance. Although she's better with Russell about cuddling than me.
Well, to be fair, I was the one that was cuddling with her after we, snatched her out of the fucking wild.
Yeah.
So no surprise there.
Well, I can't help that we had to keep her sequestered and you were in there most of the time. Because every so often your mom's room the humidity likes to release certain scents that she's got like embedded in the carpeting or the walls or something in there, and I'm just like, I have to leave. Who's knocking stuff all around?
I think that was Momo shifting in his bed.
Okay. Poor Momo. I think the cats had shifted his water bowl close to the edge of the ottoman that we have it sitting on. And, he tried to he got out of his bed to go use his potty pad in the middle of the night. Actually, I don't think it was that late. Well, it might have been around midnight or so. Because we had laid down a little bit early last night because we were both tired still. And, he kind of half drug his blanket out of his bed with him because it stuck to him. And he came back and he was trying to get back in and he was fussing with the blanket. And he kind of got his head in the blanket and flipped it up and went to hop into the box, and I guess the blanket got caught on the water bowl and flipped the water bowl upside down. It was a full water bowl too. All on his blankie. The other blankie's in the laundry. It needs to be washed. And he was like, my blankie! And we're like, I'm sorry, buddy. We had to quick throw it in the dryer and then stay up while that kind of dried out. It wasn't too sopping wet because once I realized the water was kind of sitting on the surface of his blanket, I like flipped it onto the floor and soaked the shitty area rug that we have in front of his bed so he's not sliding trying to get in and out of it. So he doesn't throw something out of place with his gimpy back and all. Because the kitchen and this room are really the only rooms that don't have carpeting. But he's not really in the kitchen very often. But when he was walking through certain parts of this room, his feet were like sliding out from underneath of him. And he was having some confidence issues walking through here, so we ended up grabbing a shitty area rug from Dollar General just to kind of put under his dog bed so he had some footing to get in and out, and that seemed to help him a bit. So my poor old man. He's still a good buddy. Although it's hilarious because the way our desks are set up now, he has an easier time getting to me, but not so much of an easier time to get to Russell, but he will still go to Russell to want to go potty. I'm like, really, bud? I'm right here. And he's like, nope, I'm walking around the desk and I'm going to him. I was like, alright. If that's what you want, sir. But Little will sort of sleep with me at night. Sort of. She'll either lay at the foot of the bed, near me, or she'll lay on the other side of the bed on Russell's side, down at the bottom. Or sometimes I'll wake up and she'll be like halfway up Russell's side of the bed. There's been a couple of times she's tried to sit on me to lay on like my ribs, but I don't have quite enough cushioning. I'm not fluffy enough in my rib area for her liking, apparently. So she doesn't feel like she's got enough stable ground to lay on. So she'll like put one foot on my ribs and I'm like, oh god, that hurts. And then she's looking at me and she's like, meow. And I'm like, well, come on. And then she like gives me a dirty look and turns around and will lay as far as she can from me, but be on the same piece of furniture with me. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. This is what it is. I'm sorry. Russell's a little more fluffy in the ribcage area, so she likes laying on his side. All the cats like laying on top of him. Whether they're laying on his back, his butt, his stomach, his chest, his side. Like, whenever he sleeps out here,
I'm starting to wonder about those cats, because my mind does it all the time, too.
Yeah, like...
But why does everyone want to sleep on Daddy, damn it?
I don't know, but it, like, fucks with Russell's anxiety when they do that. So then he'll like wake up with an anxiety attack because they're sitting on him. There's a couple times I've woken up to in here when Russell's been out here instead of in the other room to Little like laying across his ribs, and I'm like, hi. And she's like, Murr. And I'm just like, are you being a hood ornament? Or a gargoyle? And she's as content could be. Cal insists on climbing on his back, on his chest, on his head. They know they can't. Gus was the only one I ever let actually sit on me. I can't. Well, Gus and Zoe. But Zoe was like, I just want your hand. And I'm like, okay. Gus was allowed to sit on me to a point. If I was laying on the floor, he would climb on my back and try to eat my hair. And I'm like, no. You can't eat my hair. He would start grooming my head, painfully grooming my head. He was like ripping my hair out with his teeth. I'm like, can we not? Like, Russell would have to bodily move him off of me. And there would be times where I'd wake up when we had the tiny ass couch. And we were still using this room as like a living room. And he'd be sitting on me. And I'm like, what? I'd like go to turn over and realize I couldn't. Because I suddenly had a cat there. It's like, can I help you? Cal tries to climb on me, but he's got these weird ass bony feet where he puts all of his weight and he likes to step in between my ribs and it hurts so much. I'm like, no, you have to get off. I can't do this. I'm sorry. And he won't just lay. If he would just lay still, it would be fine. But whenever I let him sit on me, he turns into Velcro cat and he digs his nails in. Even if I'm not moving, he like latches on and attaches himself to me like a leech or something. And I'm like, we were having a nice moment and then you had to inflict pain upon me. And now I don't want to be part of this moment anymore. Can we not just sit nice? I've got you. I'm supporting your butt. You're not gonna fall. Can you just sit here? Because the one day I was video editing and he was insisting on climbing on my shoulder and half laying on me, and I'm like, if you're a good boy, you can stay.
But he was not.
And he was good for like all of 5 minutes, and then he like dug his nails in, and they've got these little hooks on the end of them, and he dug in, and I'm like, okay, you hurt, you need to go now. And I tried to pick him up to move him off of me, and he like dug in harder. Russell had to come and like pry his feet off of my shoulder. He destroyed one of my shirts doing that. I've got so many holes in it from his nails. I really either need to patch those holes or get rid of the shirt, because I'm not going to be able to wear it much longer around the house. That is definitely not an out of the house shirt. Thanks to a certain fluffy pain in the ass. And other times I'll just wake up and Cal's nose will be like right almost in my mouth. And I'm like, sir, boundaries. Boundaries. This is not how we get the good kind of attention. And then he starts wanting the bad kind of attention where I'm chasing him through the house at like who fucking knows the clock and spraying him because he was being bad. Knocking shit over, climbing in the pantry, ripping open bags of pasta. I can't have bags of egg noodles just left alone on the shelving in there. It has to be inside a Ziploc bag. Because if it's not inside a Ziploc, he will chew a hole into the Ziploc. Or the egg noodle bag, because he likes the crinkles of it seems. And he will not only chew a hole in the end of the egg noodle bag, he will then pull out the egg noodles from the bag and then start playing with them. And I'm like, really? You have how many cat toys in this house? And you're insisting on ripping the pasta out of the bag. I actually had a fit when, I guess there was a cardboard box shortage or something for Walmart's pasta. Because for a while, the type of pasta that Russell will eat was only available in a bag from them. And I was like, oh, fuck. I had a fit because I'm like, he's going to rip every single one of these bags of pasta open. We have to make sure we keep Q-tips under lock and key. We thought it was so cute when he was younger and would play with them. Until he decided that the god of water needed sacrificial offerings and would take the Q-tips when he was done chasing them into the bathroom. And we don't have the center stopper in the sink is missing. I don't know how long it's been missing. It's been non-existent, I think, since I've been here.
I mean, it just stopped working.
It's not there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about
the bathroom
sink?
Yeah.
That's been gone since we moved here. It's never had. Well, okay, it had one, but it wasn't attached, so it just sat there.
So it was useless.
Yeah, it did nothing.
Okay. So, and then when we changed out the fixture, the new fixture didn't have one. So when he was done chasing them...
Well, I didn't change that part of the fixture.
Oh, okay, you just changed the faucet?
Yeah. Because I don't know if I can change that easily. I'd have to look
probably not. That's going to be a bit more involved. But, when he was done playing with them and getting them all good and dirty from chasing them around on the floor, he would go into the bathroom, climb up on the counter, and he did this whenever we were asleep because we didn't know he was doing this at first, and he would drop them in the sink and somehow get them to go down the drain in the sink. Because there was nothing there blocking anything from falling down the drain hole, I guess. And we didn't know he was doing this until our sink backed up. And we got some spiky snake drains, like the plastic yellow things that you can shove down in there to try to grab like hair stuff, hair clogs and stuff. Like we were using liquid plumber and Drano, nothing was working. We're like, what in the fuck? She's getting mad at you. She's gonna bite you. She needs her nails done. She's getting caught in the blankets. We stuck this yellow thing down there. And we pulled out like 6 Q-tips. And we were like, what the fuck? We actually had to have a plumber come and
No,
go.
I did that.
No, the plumber came one time because it had backed the drain in the tub had backed up. It was for a different reason. And they checked the trap on the sink because the plumbing in this house is a mess. And when they opened the trap on the sink, they were saying a whole bunch of Q-tips came out of it. So there was still more Q-tips down in there. So then we had to try to go and get the like flat stopper plugs to try to put in the sink, and we had to lock the Q-tips up in the linen closet. But he fucking knew what shelf they were on in the linen closet, so you could not open the door to the linen closet in the bathroom if he was in there, because then he launched himself onto the shelf and was clawing at the box, trying to drag it out with him as you're pulling him out of there. And you could not let him see you throw Q-tips into a trash can. We actually had to put the bathroom trash can in the linen closet because he was going in the trash can and pulling them out. And he still hasn't grown out of it. So we still can't let him see that we've thrown Q-tips in the trash. We have to like put them in the trash in the kitchen and like bury them. And there's still something not quite right with our sink in the bathroom. It's still draining kind of funny. We thought we'd fixed it. It was going great after the sewer line got fixed. And now it's started to get clogged up again. I don't know if it's just a hair clog that we've been fighting with now. Because for a while, like, all of the cats were sitting in the sink, and I'm like, get out of the sink. You guys don't drink this water. I'm not turning this faucet on for you. Stop depositing your fur in the bathroom sink, please. All these cats are weird about water. Like, obsessively weird. There were nights where Russell was working either at Walmart or had to be Walmart, because you worked days at Polytech. Where I was up all night, because I was still on my shift from working the casinos. Yeah, it was shortly after we moved here. I was still up all night. I would go to the bathroom. It'd be like 2 in the morning. And I kid you not, there's 2 cats sitting in the tub, staring at the drain, and then there's 2 more cats sitting on the edge of the tub. All of them are just staring down the drain in the shower bathtub, just staring at it. And I'm like, I feel like I'm interrupting something, but I really have to pee. So yeah, I'm just gonna pee and then I'm gonna go, and I don't know what you all are doing, but you need to stop. Because this is kind of creepy. I don't know if the drain was making noises. I don't know what the hell they were doing. I don't know if they were having a friggin' sacrifice ritual, paying homage to the sink god. I don't know, but it was very strange. And never did figure out what was going on there. So we're going to pause there for today. I know we didn't get too much done today, but I also started a little bit late. And we were fussing with the edge on the lighthouse there. I think we got that sorted finally. But, yeah, we're getting our ground put in. We're gonna get this whole block put in here. I'm gonna wait on this section until we get there. I mean, I guess we could just do it ahead of time. We know what color it's gonna be. It's gonna be this brown color. We could just do all the ground at once. But this is part of the house. So we need to put some more brown in here and then take the brown up this way. And, yeah, so we're getting there. We're getting there. We are, where are we at? We're like at, let's call it like 18 minutes into the tutorial. So we have a couple more, sessions on this guy, because we still have to do the remaining water down in here and get our house and everything sorted up here. And are you guys liking the dowel rods being painted and attached on stream? If you're not, then I'll do it off stream, but I mean, maybe I'll prime them off stream this time because we've seen that a few times now. But
I would do it off stream. It's not like you're doing anything particularly different.
But just priming them?
Or painting them or whatever, because again, you're just slapping a coat of paint on the dowel rods.
Yeah, I mean, I can attach them on stream and we can put the little hangy-doos on together to wrap it up. Just so we have a finished project at the end. But yeah, I guess I can paint it off stream. But, yeah, so I mean, we're not doing too bad, I think. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll try to... Every time I say we're going to start early, we don't start early. So we'll see. Just make sure you have your notifications turned on here or on Twitter. Because that's the two places I post the most regularly when we're about to go live. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And I hope to see you tomorrow. But if I don't, have a good one.